everyone, and welcome back to Famous Pages. Today we're talking about the poem Love's Growth by John Donne. And as usual, let's start with a mini summary and then dive straight into the line-by-line analysis. This poem is all about love and its many manifestations. It's about how love cannot be something that is purely physical or purely spiritual. Rather, it's something that defies all definitions. He challenges the notion that there is only one type of love and redefines it as a blend of different elements, something not just a pure and simple thing, not a quintessence, not a basic substance, something that affects your body and soul, something of mixed elements, something that can cure ailments and at once the cause of the ailments. The poem is made of 4 stanzas, the shorter having 6 lines, with the shorter stanzas having A, B, C, C rhyme scheme, and the longer stanzas A, B, C, C, D, D. This alternation of short and long highlights the fact that love comes in many different forms, but at the end of the day, it still comes together into one beautiful, highly complementary thing. The title of the poem, Love's Growth, highlights the changes and the transformations of love. Love's actual growth, its progression and development, but also love's growth in the double entendre sense, this being John Donne. So it could be referencing the act of intercourse, love's actual growth within the man, or alternatively, if your mind is less in the gutter, the growth of the product of love, the child of love, a baby. And Moore, after all, did have a horrifying total of 12 children from John Donne. I scarce believe my love to be so pure as I had thought it was, because it doth endure vicissitude and season as the grass. Methinks I lied all winter when I swore my love was infinite, if spring make it more. I scarce believe my love to be so pure. I cannot believe that my love is as pure as I used to think that it was, as I used to believe, because it can bear the ups and downs of vicissitude, changeability. In other words, the ups and downs of life. So I used to think as a naive young youth that love was the purest element of all, that it somehow defied everything, but now I see that it can just handle the ups and downs of life and the seasons, just like grass grows in the spring after winter. In other words, he's saying that he was a naive young youth to think that love was pure and innocent and like a child in this world. No, love is something that's weathered, something that is experienced, because love can endure all the seasons, all the vicissitudes, all the ups and downs of life, all the changeability, because love itself is changeable. Like calls to like, and if love was not like this, then it would not be able to handle this. So he's in other words saying that time has passed and I have grown and I have aged and I have matured and realized that life is not as simple as I first thought it was. I guess I lied for all of winter. Methinks I lied all winter when I promised that my love was infinite, because now I see that love changes just like life changes. If the spring makes it grow more, if spring makes it more, so if the spring makes it grow more is a double entendre, because of course makes it spring up, makes it become stronger, in allusion to the male organ, because Donne would not be done without these dirty illusions, but also spring is the time of rebirth, renewal, a time of fertility. Spring is the time when everybody's happy. Spring is also mating season for many animals. Spring is the time when new things come to blossom, like flowers and relationships. In other words, spring is a time when people look for their potential partners, and spring makes love grow more. In other words, how can we think that love is this like pure and faithful and innocent thing when every season it changes just like the ups and downs of life, and we ourselves recognize that actually we're in search of new experiences, new relationships, so promising this fidelity in winter was a foolish thing to do. Also, if you want to view this in the less cynical sense, you could interpret it as my love was infinite if spring make it more. So my love was already strong, But spring, when I saw all these potential relationships, when my own relationships grew, that's when my love became more. That's when my love became stronger, when I realized that I lied to you in the winter, not because I thought that I'd love you forever, but I lied to you in the winter because I thought that this was the limit to my already infinite love. But there's something that's more than infinite, something that's super infinite. Don loved this word, super. So likewise, spring makes it more. And more is perhaps also mentioned here, a pun on her name. So in other words, he's saying, I'm sorry, darling, I lied to you in the winter when I said I love you to infinity, because in fact, I love you more than infinity. But if this medicine, love, which cures all sorrow was more, not only be no quintessence, but mixed of all stuff spaining soul or sense, and of the sun his working vigor borrow, love's not so pure and abstract as they use to say, which have no mistress but their muse, but as all else being elemental too, love sometimes would contemplate and sometimes do. But if this medicine, love, which acts as a medicine, it could actually cure all sorrow with more. So love is presented as this somehow balm to all the ailments, like, oh, fall in love and all your problems will go away, but at the same time it's actually the root of these problems too. It will be a love which cures all the sorrow with more. So in other words, love can cure all of your problems, including sorrow, including sadness that you feel, oh, I'm so lonely and sad. No, love can cure that. Love can ensure that you're no longer sad and lonely, that you have a partner, that you have your soul reunited. But at the same time, it cures it with more. It cures it because it gives you more sorrow. Love is not without its problems, is what Donne is saying. Love can bring sorrow too. And it's incredible the way that Donne challenges the notions of the time, because in most of the poems, love was romanticized as this perfect, ideal, do no harm thing. The true entity that will make all of you happy. But Donne is actually saying, no, that's not acknowledging the complexity of love. Love will make you sad, but love will also make you feel better because it's a different type of sadness and it's a different type of cure. Fight fire with fire. Yes, it can be sorrowful, but it can also remove the sorrow. Not only quintessence, the absolute stuff of life, in other words, but mixed of all stuff sporing soul or sense. So love is not just the essence of life. Love is a mix of life itself. To call it simply the essence, simply the foundation, simply the very, very core of something is to be reductionist. Donne is saying here that actually it's more than just getting to the core. It's like finding the core and complementing it with all these different elements. It's a mixture of soul because it's a mixture of who you are, and it's also a mixture of sense, your reasoning. Your whole worldview is colored and made by this love. And of the sun his working vigor borrow. So love has to borrow its energy, its vigor from the working sun. It's the very bright stuff that the sun shines with. It's that ball of energy, that ball of passion who is working, but it's not as pure or abstract as they say. So it's not as simple as they would have us to believe. They which have no mistress but their muse. So in other words, he's saying the muse of creativity. He's saying that poets, that artists, that they exaggerate because they present love as, again, this pure theoretical notion, but he's saying that love is more complicated than that. And it can be practical too. It can be physical. It can bring not only happiness but also sorrow. It's complicated, is what Donne is saying here. Love grows, love develops, love progresses as the relationship progresses. It is, as all else, as all other things in life, elemented. It's made out of different components which Donne thinks that we should all acknowledge. Love sometimes would contemplate, sometimes do. Love sometimes thinks, sometimes does. Sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's mental. It's composed of all the different things. It's interesting the way that he builds this poem here, because essentially as he builds upon idea upon idea upon idea, this is what he's saying that love does too. It builds upon ideas. And yet no greater but more eminent. Love by the spring is grown, as in the firmament. Stars by the sun are not enlarged but shown. Gentle love deeds, as blossoms on a bough, from love's awakened root do bud out now. And although it doesn't grow bigger or greater, it becomes more eminent, it's more prominent, it's more seen. Love is grown more by the spring. It's inspired to grow and develop, just like in heaven, in the firmament. Firmament is the expanse of the sky. So stars are not made bigger by the sun, is the message here. Stars by the sun are not enlarged but shown. So stars are not made bigger. Stars are just, the sun shows off their natural beauty. Likewise, love's deeds as blossoms on a bough, as flowers on a stick, from love's awakened root to bud out now. Like the stars exist on their own, we have this idea that love is already self-sufficient, and these people are self-sufficient too, but love emphasizes their perfection, their ideals. Love is what ultimately makes us human and shows us off as our very best selves. And love also enables other beautiful things to grow with its power. Gentle love deeds, so gentle acts of love, they're like blossoms on a branch, and they grow from love the way that flowers would grow from spring. So all of the intimacy and acts of affections that lovers carry out, it is love that enables these things to happen. The same way that something as beautiful and all-powerful as the sun would show off the flowers. So we have this beautiful allusion to nature there. If, as in water stirred, more circles be, produced by one, love such additions take, those like so many spheres but one heaven make, for they are all concentric unto thee, and though each spring do add to love new heat, as princes do in times of action get new taxes, and remit them not in peace, no winter shall abate the spring's increase. If love develops, water stirred more circles be. So like the ripples on a pond, then those circles, those ripples on the pond, when you throw off a stone and it gives off more and more and more concentric circles, those are produced by love. So all its manifestations, all its affections, these ripples are basically like the spheres that make a heaven, is the complicated conceit here. Those like so many spheres but one heaven make. So like all the ripples of water make the stars, because they mirror this, like this, the idea that they had about the universe at the time. So the center of these concentric circles, like the stone, is love. So but the center of love for me is you, is what Donne is saying here. They concentrate on you. They are all concentric unto thee. You are the center of the universe. You're the center of my universe, at least. For the first time in the poem, he addresses his love directly. He addresses the woman directly. He say, my beloved. He talks to his beloved as thee. It's a direct address to her, whereas before all of this was some distant philosophizing about the nature of love. And the way that he addresses her for the first time is just to emphasize how important she is, to tell her that you are so important, the whole galaxy circles around you. And although each spring do add to love new heat, and although my passion grows with every spring, with every passing year, just as princes do in time of action get new taxes. So basically what he's saying here is that in times of war, princes introduce taxes, and then when war goes away, the taxes don't go away. So likewise, he's saying, how romantic. My love for you is like the everlasting taxes that stay. It never goes away. With every spring it grows harder, bigger, but also it never really goes away once the spring goes away. No winter shall abate the spring's increase. Likewise, no winter will sate my love for you, just like no time of peace will ever sate the prince's love for taxes. It's an amusing and practical metaphor to be talking to your beloved and be saying, oh, you're the center of my universe, and also I love you just like princes love their taxes. We could suppose that probably this was during the time Donne was particularly going through his financial troubles, so it could have been that this was the poem that he gave to his love to be like, yeah, I know we're having difficulty, but even though we're having difficulty, I still love you. So it is interesting to look at it contextually, although of course there is a danger of looking too much at this contextually. So I hope you enjoyed my video on Loved Grows from this collection of John Donne. In this collection, it's actually not split into 4 stanzas, it's split into 2. But for the convenience of this video, I did split it into 4 stanzas just so that it was easier to analyze. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.